Look at the streets of Manila. Beneath the overpasses and between skyscrapers, millions navigate one of the densest urban economies in the world. But for decades, the Philippine government has relied on a brutally simple, unspoken formula to keep this machine running. When the local economy cannot generate enough jobs to sustain its population, the state exports the worker and imports the dollar. The scale of this system is massive. Every year, Overseas Filipino Workers, or OFWs, send home roughly $36 to $38 billion. That specific influx of cash equals about 10% of the entire Philippine gross domestic product. It keeps unemployment at acceptable levels, fuels local consumption, and helps stabilize the peso. These remittances act as the primary load-bearing pillar holding up the entire national economy. Without them, the system fractures. Yet the foundation of that economic pillar is located thousands of kilometers away, deep in the Gulf states. Right now, an escalating conflict involving Iran is threatening to destabilize the region. Analysts usually discuss this tension in terms of global oil supply or military positioning. But look at the demographics of the Philippine workforce. Between 2.3 and 2.5 million OFWs are concentrated in just 6 Gulf Cooperation Council countries. That represents about 60% of all deployed Filipino workers globally. The Philippines has effectively parked its economic safety valve at the exact epicenter of a potential regional war. To see why a conflict there would be so devastating, we have to examine how the Gulf economies are built. These are not conventional labor markets where immigrants simply fill in the gaps. This visualization shows the extreme population disparity. Here, expatriates vastly outnumber citizens. Foreign workers don't supplement the population, they are the population. In the UAE and Qatar, foreign nationals make up 85 to 90% of everyone within their borders. This creates a dangerous fragility. The people driving demand, the executives, the investors, the highly paid professionals renting luxury apartments, and employing domestic staff have no permanent stake. If the security risk of a regional war gets too high, they pack up and leave. So while the Gulf looks incredibly wealthy from the outside, its economic engine relies entirely on people who will exit the moment trouble starts. Once those high-income expatriates fly out, the local economy contracts immediately. Real estate markets stall, retail spending drops, and service industries freeze up. When businesses and remaining households slash budgets, foreign labor is the easiest and first variable to adjust. Construction slows down, clinics limit hiring, and families let go of their domestic workers. At the same time, Gulf governments facing a severe economic downturn will push to protect their own citizens. Long-standing policies to replace foreign workers with locals, like Saudiization, will accelerate from gradual experiments into urgent mandates. For the Philippines, this triggers a severe double squeeze. A regional war means fewer jobs and lower remittances from the Middle East. Simultaneously, that same conflict chokes global oil supplies, driving up energy prices everywhere. The country loses the billions of dollars it needs to support its currency, right as the cost of importing fuel and food skyrockets. Inflation surges, the peso weakens, and the purchasing power of millions evaporates. A prolonged conflict means a sudden mass return of workers who suddenly have no income. Many of these returnees are in their 50s. They have spent decades building skills suited for the Gulf, only to be thrust back into a fiercely competitive local job market that has very little use for their experience. To survive, they are forced to seek urgent reskilling through government agencies, just as the domestic market adopts artificial intelligence and automation. Processing hundreds of thousands of older workers through this system is a logistical nightmare. Flying home is a crash landing into a domestic economy lacking the capacity to absorb them. The vulnerability exposed by the Iran conflict is the direct result of a decades-long policy failure. Instead of developing self-sustaining local industries capable of providing enough jobs, successive administrations leaned entirely on the global market to take in their surplus workers. They avoided the difficult work of building a true industrial base. The massive demand and high wages offered by the Gulf states created a comfortable mirage. It felt extremely reliable, but it was always contingent on external political conditions entirely outside of the Philippines' control. A war in the Middle East forces a stress test on this entire model. The era of relying on overseas labor as the ultimate safety valve is collapsing. And the structural defenses to survive what comes next simply have not been built.